As is. So I'll call the East Lyme Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Today is November 2nd already, 2016. Y'all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Additional agenda and consent items? If any?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Delegations. Would anyone like to speak to the Board of Selectmen this evening? Open mic. It's open mic night.
All right.
Anyone?
Nope.
Okay. Approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes, first of all, the public hearing of October 19th, 2016, as submitted.
Second. Doesn't matter.
Motion, it's been seconded. Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay.
And then I'll move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the East Lyme Board of Selectmen for October 19th, 2016, as submitted.
Second.
We got a second. Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we have a consent calendar?
Yes, we do. Move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of November 2nd, 2016, in the amount of $3,402.30.
Second. The motion's been seconded. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We'll go on to new business. Should be rather quick, so we'll stay with the order of the agenda tonight. 2A is the approval of the meeting calendar for 2017 already, folks. Any planned vacations? Anything we need to know?
I'll move to approve the meeting calendar for 2017 as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Ayes have it. 2B is the special appropriation of $6,453.23 for the Emergency Operations Center and the Dispatch Unit. This is for equipment and furniture. The Office of the East Lyme Emergency Management is requesting a special appropriation of that amount to cover the cost of 3 new desks, 2 new dispatchers' chairs, 1 projector, and 1 electric stapler. This amount, the $6,400 and change request is the amount will be covered by the 2017 Nuclear Safety Emergency Preparedness Grant allocation number 2017-58. And the current furniture equipment does not meet the demand utilized by the Department of Emergency Management and Public Safety. These items are used a lot. They're used 24/7, 365 by dedicated people in our dispatch center, and they're ergonomically correct. I've been working on that word all day. It's an important thing if you're sitting in this chair and you're dishing out the 911 calls that you have everything properly positioned and you're positioned properly in your seat. This is a workman's comp issue if you don't do it the right way. Additionally, these new items will assist with critical operations and maximize efficiency for public personnel. I gave Dick Morris the night off, said I could handle this. If there's any questions, I could answer as many as I can. Otherwise, you can take a motion. Again, this is a total grant money. This is not in our operation budget nor our capital plan.
I'll move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $6,453.23 to budget account 01-70-725-224-006 NSEEP equipment and revenue account 01-04-400-401 NSEP grants to cover the cost of the purchase of new furniture and equipment for the EOC and Dispatch Center and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Second. Motion has been made and seconded. Comments and questions? Thank you. I'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have that vote.
You think there's something on TV we all wanted to get home to watch tonight or something?
And we talked
World
about not
Series.
bringing up the World Series.
Okay, we won't. And I'm just joking.
2C. I'm not in a rush. I'd just like to be efficient.
No, I know.
2C is the special appropriation of $18,000 from the Connecticut Green Bank Rewards Program for the streetlight retrofit with LED lights. Our able Public Works Director, Joe Berga, is here to help us with this and tell us what this is all about. Am I right, Joe? Or would you like me to read your narrative?
Actually, Gary Geisel is the one that put this in, but this is
Right.
the 18,000. The money that's in this is actually coming from the Solarize East Lyme, and we earn that much credit. Then we found out that we can use this towards the streetlight retrofit, which the town passed, and we went forward. So we're actually moving forward with those LED streetlights. So they should start to retrofit the end of this month, and this will just pay that down, so we just can start recouping the large savings even quicker.
So this $18,000, which is a credit to our town because we do solar
This-
things in town and
Well, the
green
Solarize,
things.
the Solarize program,
Right.
which was very successful, we earned 18,000 in credits, and it's just been sitting there, and we need to apply it, because anytime there's these grants
Right.
out there, you want to bring them back to us.
It was about to expire. So
So-
we're going to be able to pay down the streetlight program by $18,000 thereabouts,
Correct,
saving the taxpayers money in the long run.
correct, it's a win.
Any other questions?
Okay, I'll move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $18,000 to a budget and corresponding revenue account to be established titled Streetlight LED Retrofit to assist in payment of the project and forward to the Board of Finance for approval, and this will require a town meeting.
Second.
We have a second. Any comments? Thank you for doing this, Joe. You always find a way to even knock it down some more, so I appreciate that. We're expected to get these streetlights. The program is the installation is going to start up pretty soon. Yes. Okay, let's call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it. The next item is the authorization of the first selectman to sign the MSA extension between SCARA and the town of East Lyme. That's why you're here tonight, right? Okay, now I got it. So could you give us some background on that? We had SCARA here a couple meetings ago talking about the SCARA plant, which is where we send all our trash to that plant in Preston up on 395. And we have a long-term agreement with them that's coming up on an expiration, and we're going to extend that contract because it's such a good deal.
That's correct. The last meeting, the people from SCARE were here. They were the executive board. That was the executive director that talked to it. The town of East Lyme, being part of SCARE is a complete win for this town. It's a great program for us to be in. It's 13 towns. They've put reserves into place so that we can keep our tipping fees stable up at Preston for probably the next 10 years. You see the household hazardous waste days that come available once a year that people can bring all their stuff in, and now they've opened it up to the municipal, like the towns and the schools. It's all free of charge. When they bring all the brush and everything like that, to come in with a tub grinder free of charge. There's so many services. They give us a transportation subsidy that comes in as a revenue every year. There's so many things that SCARA does for us, and they're looking to sign up all the towns in this for another 10 years. So we have bargaining power with our 140,000 tons of trash with all those towns to get the best deal possible. So that's where we're at, and we'd like to get that signed.
As we observed, comparing our tipping fees to others across the state, we have a really good situation. We owe that credit to all the people that came before us and set up that, or some of us were probably here, Mrs. Hardy, but the people that set this thing up a whole long time ago, and we're very fortunate to have that service. Are there any questions or concerns?
I'll move to authorize the first selectman to sign MSA extension between SCARA and the town of East Lyme, and move to authorize the first selectman to sign the MSA extension between SCARA and the town of East Lyme.
Second.
Comments? This will all be reviewed by our town attorney, or it has already.
It has.
Of course.
Approve it as form.
It's been approved in form. Thank you. I was waiting for someone to ask the question, but since no one did, I'll bring it up. Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Are there any abstentions? Fantastic. There's a sign call for a special town meeting.
Town of East Lyme, notice a special town meeting. Notice is hereby given of a special town meeting of the town of East Lyme to be held on November 16, 2016 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the East Lyme Town Hall Upper Meeting Room for the following purposes: to approve an appropriation in the amount of $18,000 for Connecticut Green Bank rewards for streetlight fixture retrofit with LED lights and to establish a budget and corresponding revenue account entitled Streetlight LED Retrofit to assist in payment of the project. Dated at East Lyme, Connecticut, the 2nd day of November 2016. East Lyme Board of Selectmen.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Fantastic, thank you for that. I just realized I had a cup of cappuccino before the meeting, and maybe that's why this is going so fast. It's really not the World Series, it's just that I almost fell asleep before the meeting, so I had a cappuccino before the meeting, and phew. So I'm taking a deep breath. So here we go. 3A on our agenda is unfinished business, old business, and that's a continued discussion and action regarding the ordinance establishing a police commission. There have been there was a lot of discussion last meeting about where we were headed. I instructed worked with our town attorney. I don't instruct anyone to do anything, but worked with our town attorney to make some modifications. You have the ordinance that was sent out to you, the changes, and so in paragraph 1, we changed it to a 7-member police commission. In paragraph 2, we talked about 6 resident electors of the town to be appointed by the Board of Selectmen. And we changed the terms in paragraph 2. 3 terms would be filled by the appointment that would last until January of 2018, and they'll be at which time they shall be filled by appointments for 4 years, and then 3 terms filled by appointment until the first Monday of January 2020, at which time they'll be filled by appointment for 4 years. That lines up with our charter that we generally appoint commissioners on even number years. So that's why we moved that around, and we had to get a little creative on how this would first roll out. Appointed members of the Board of Commissioners may serve no more than 2 consecutive terms. That's in 2B. The 2 consecutive terms, after that, the person would have to sit out for 4 years if he or she would like to be considered for further service to our town on the police commission. There would have to be a 4-year lapse in serving on that commission. That we worked through that with Mr. O'Connell, who's a known expert of our charter and our ordinance package, and that works perfectly fine. I think our charter is silent on term limits, so we were able to put that in our ordinance without any problem. We made sure we were clear that the first selectman, he or she shall have the right to vote at the meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners. He or she would be one of the 7, not just in ex officio status, but a voting member of the commission. Jumping back up to 2C, no appointed member of the Board of Commissioners shall hold any other elective or appointed office in the town. Generally, everything else stayed the same on the remaining page on 1 and on 2. What am I missing, sir? We did delete on the last page, page 4, in the 10th paragraph, that we deleted the part-time provision of constables, and we just said all constables, not just full-time constables, will go over. So it alleviates any questions about whether we have a part-time and if he or she would.
Where is the wording on that in section 10?
Section 10, what we did is took out the word full-time. So we deleted the words full-time, and we just said
Are in active service and good standing?
active service, good standard, constables, and active service and good standards, not full-time constables.
Okay.
So anybody who's hired now as a police officer would switch over to the new police officer standards. We left the bottom blank. The effective date of this ordinance, shall it pass tonight, in talking to town attorney, we would publish that rather quickly, probably Friday or Saturday. This would be effective 10 days after publication. If we posted this on Friday the 4th, this ordinance would be effective November 15th. If we publish on the 4th, we would push those dates out if we couldn't publish on the 4th. But I think that's capable, and we're prepared to go to publishing if that's the case. Are there questions from the commission? Any items you'd like to discuss again or have considered?
I have 2 questions on the ordinance. One is, do we need language to start the commission to appoint 6 immediately? Or is that understood in this language? Because I see 2018, 2020.
Once the ordinance becomes effective, the Board of Selectmen would then be in a position to consider appointments to the Board of Police Commissioners. So once
So
the
we could-
ordinance is effective, you can solicit and entertain and consider applications for appointment to the commission, and you can make your appointments in due course.
So would some be appointed to need to be reappointed in 2018, and the other 3 would be 2020 if we appointed all 6 at once?
That's right, that's
Yes.
right.
So we just have to make note of that. Okay. My second question is, the first selectman is part of this commission. So there's going to be 7 here, members. He can be chairman. He or she could be chairman or not, or it doesn't matter. It's up to the commission.
The latter. In the previous draft, it was specified that the first selectman would be the chairman and would preside at meetings of the commission. But I think the discussion pertaining to that thought that it would be better left to the commission itself
To decide.
to decide who would
Okay.
be the
So
chairman.
it's giving them the decision power. It's not prohibiting.
That's right.
Got it. That's all I have on the ordinance.
So, assuming this passes tonight and it becomes effective on the 15th of November, what is the time frame that one would be looking at for filling out the body of the commission so they could start meeting? I mean, do we have an ideal?
I would recommend we advertise that we are accepting applications. I would recommend we notify both town committees that we are soliciting applications and recommendations for people for the police commission. And I would think that the Board of Selectmen should hold that open maybe for a 30-day period, or until our first meeting in December, and we can start reviewing them, I think, as a whole. And appointing 6 people. But I wouldn't want to do this in a quick 1-week thing.
Oh, no.
So it's today's November 2nd.
But,
If we went to the end of the
best
month.
case scenario, they could hold their first meeting early in the new year.
Or if we appoint in,
Or sometime in
December.
toward the end
yeah,
of
they could
December.
get-
Okay, all right, thank
get
you.
moving on it, absolutely. I wouldn't want to rush the selection process. I think if we gave it through the end of, say, November 30th, it would give us time to collect the applications and review them for our first meeting in December, which I think is the 7th. So it gives us a full week to actually collect and review for our first meeting in December. Comments?
Yes. I still find myself rather torn between the appointed and elected. I feel this is a tremendous amount of power to give to a non-elected group. And while elected officials will be doing the appointments, we still heard from a number of members of the public that felt that it should be elected and not appointed. And if I might make a comparison to, a large comparison between this and the concept in the Constitution of the Supreme Court, where they had a discussion as to whether to have those people appointed or elected, and it was felt that by being elected, they were too subject to making decisions that would please the public so that they could get reelected. So I think that carries some weight, On the other hand, we are still a fairly small community where we know a lot of people. It's not as though we're talking about people in Washington, D.C. And I think that we do have to take into consideration what some members of the public have said quite vociferously, that they feel that it should be elected. So I was pleased to get the report from Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, and they reported on a survey of 54 police commissions throughout the state who would be a comparable sized community to our own. And of those 54 police commissions, 39 of them were appointed and 15 were elected. So that's roughly a little more than a quarter of the communities decided to have the commissions be elected.
Correct.
So I think that as a community, we may have some disagreements, but for the most part, I think we're pretty united as a group in doing what's best for the town. And so with that in mind, I'm going to support the appointed commission. And we only serve 2-year terms, so I guess if the people don't like our decisions, they could vote us out in 2 years.
I guess they like your decisions. Been here for a while.
For a while. Yes, considering that I was on the original discussion for Police Commission in
Right.
1984,
Right.
I think I've had plenty of
1884?
1984. I think I've had plenty of time to consider the decision. But I also think that we've accumulated quite a bit of information that will help the Police Commission, when formed, to be able to go about making their decisions. And I thought the information that was provided for us with the communities that are a comparable size to ours, but not that was based on population, not necessarily the same, shall we say, the same community conditions. In other words, I think the needs of a shoreline community, such as Old Saybrook or Clinton, are quite different than some of the other communities that we were compared with, such as Groton or Granby, which has a similar population. So I think this information is available to the commission, the salary range of police chiefs, the communities that have a deputy. Some have full-time, some have part-time. But I think, as I said, that enough information has been is available and provided for them that they can come up with a commission and a department that's going to best meet the needs of our town.
Mrs. Hardy, I'm really happy you brought this up, because it is a discussion that needed to hit the table tonight. That we did hear from many citizens that talked about elected versus appointed. And my feeling has been, I know, you can't get the politics out of it either way, but if you're a politician, you certainly can't get the politics out of it. The appointed part makes sense for me. The term limits especially make sense for me, so we don't have lifelong commission members holding power. And maybe I'm being naive on the power of a police commission in a small town. But thank you for bringing up the discussion, because we did have a healthy discussion last time, and I think we concluded it. And additionally, by having it appointed, and this was brought up last time, and I don't think you brought it up tonight, we don't necessarily, the pool of people coming out of that commission doubles. There's about half the people in this town are unaffiliated voters. And in order to typically run around here, you have to be a Republican or Democrat and report to the town committees and make friends and be on the ballot. And that's a whole big political process. And allowing citizens to just submit resumes or through their Republican or Democrat town committees will allow a bigger pool of people to submit their resumes and prove their talents worthy of this commission. So again, thank you for bringing that up. Good, healthy discussion for the
I would
record.
also like to request that as this process is going on, that the Board of Selectmen be given reports initially, so that we can also have some input on particularly concepts such as should there be an independent deputy police chief. There are certain things that I would
Right.
want to continue to be informed on, and in the ordinance as it's written, there is no section to establish that perhaps semi-annual reports should be given to the board or something of that nature. As people, I looked back at the charter, and it says that a responsibility of this board is to view over and to keep track of the overall business of the town and to be aware of it.
In fact, just I think one of the positive things about having the first selectman as a member of that commission is especially going over the next several
Initially,
months,
yeah.
every meeting we have, we should be getting an update on the progress and where things stand on the formation or the work of the police commission. Going forward, anything else?
No, I think that it would be helpful to the commission once they're set up to review the minutes of our meeting and the public hearings and some of the points that were brought up. One of the things that I was very interested in was a residency requirement for the chief of police. And I think if you think back to when we had part-time constables, those constables, for the majority of them, lived in town. They ran businesses. They heard things that were helpful to the police that just you accidentally hear. Or somebody says to you something that they'd like to have known, but they don't want to really go to the police officially. And I think having a chief in town, I think is very important, part of the community. And that person should be recognized as a vital part of the community. And I also want him or her to have a new car.
Are you offering?
I'm driving a 1984.
I
No,
noticed.
I'm not offering.
I noticed.
Well, it'll be new to him no matter what, so that,
Or her.
or her. Good
Thank
point.
you.
Any other comments?
I heard that,
No,
Gene.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Mr. Cunningham.
Well, initially, when we began considering this, I was more in favor of an elected police commission. But after, and I listened very closely to the comments made of those that took the time to come down here and address the board, which we appreciated very much. But after listening to some of the arguments and thinking through the logic a little more and studying some of the reports that we've been provided with, I think that appointed members really is the better way to go. I think it removes the influence, the political influence a little bit. I mean, we're a political group up here, of course, but I think the board should be removed from that a little bit, and it will be if we appoint the members. And of course, if the public doesn't like who we appoint, well, then we can be removed very easily at the next election. So I think it's the better way to go. As far as the residency requirement, there was some information that was provided to us about other towns that have similar population sizes, and